I'm here with Patriots Dan Riley here at Ed Brown's residence here on the Live Free or Die. It's this support thing for Ed Brown here. We've talked about your story in the show. We're walking Ed's dog when you had a little run-in with the federal government, some of the US Marshals. We showed their version of the story, and we talked about your version of what happened there. They say that they ran into you and just took you in for questioning. Your story is a little bit different. We talked about it. What, in your words, what happened?
What happened was I went out about 7:45 that morning. Beautiful day, so I got a cup of coffee and went out to take the dog for a walk, and basically got all the way to the end of Ed's driveway, which is about a quarter-mile long, and I noticed a guy in camouflage in the woods, and he was moving around. I yelled to him, "What are you doing, turkey hunting?" And he froze at that point. And I'm looking in the woods 20, 30 yards in, and meanwhile his dog Zoe, a German Shepherd, came up alongside me and had stepped off the dirt road into the woods. And at that point he practically walked on a US Marshal, and the Marshal popped right up in front of me. At the time I didn't know it was a Marshal, and yelled freeze and pointed a gun at me. At that point I just turned around and running, and I started screaming, "Ed, they're here, Ed, they're here," and then and that's when the first round whizzed right by my head. Ooh. And then I started screaming at the top of my lungs, "Don't kill me, don't kill me, I'm unarmed, I'm unarmed," and then the second round flew by me, and when the second pop went off, for that split second I was waiting for it to impact my back, because that's what I was expecting. The first one he just missed me, and the second one I was expecting to hit me, but it whizzed through, and I heard it go through the leaves, and I was just screaming, don't kill me," at the top of my lungs. And at that point there's a little bend in the driveway. I got around that bend, and on each side of the driveway all these guys in full ghillie suits and camouflage started popping up on each side of me, running at me with their guns. "Get down, get down, get down," pointing with their guns at me. And I still had Elaine's coffee mug in my hand, so I dropped it on the ground. I said, "You got me, you got me." And I put my arms out in a submissive thing like this to be cuffed. I was like literally within arm's reach of the one Marshal, and I heard the commander say, "Tase." And as soon as he said that, I was hitting the shoulder with 50,000 volts. I grabbed the taser for a split second, and then I was down on the ground, just in total pain, like a fish out of water. Just totally, all my muscles contracted as tight as they could be. And then once I was done being tased, they all piled on top of me, and they put my arm behind my back, handcuffed one arm, and they were like, give me the other hand, give me the other hand." And they were laying on me. It was trapped under my stomach, and I couldn't give them my other hand. And at that point, the US Marshal came down with his knee on my head and jammed my head into the ground and said, "Give him your hand, give me your hand." And I have four guys, probably, figure 150 pounds. They had about 700 pounds of men on me. So they ripped my arm out from under me and handcuffed me. And then they just dragged me into the woods, and then they all got down. "Shh, be quiet, be quiet." They all got quiet. And that lasted for maybe 3-4 minutes, and then an SUV came flying down the thing. They threw me in the back of this tinted window black SUV, drove me down to 12A, and started interrogating me. They said, "Dan, the situation's deteriorating. You're the only one that can talk Ed out. We need you to go up there and help us try to negotiate Ed out, because the place is surrounded and it's getting really bad."
Did you tell him your name?
Yeah. Yeah, I told them. They had my wallet, my driver's license in it, so they knew who I was at that point. So, yeah, they drove me back up here, and at this point there was 4 armored personnel carriers. One said Massachusetts, one said Maine, and all these guys were putting on helmets, bulletproof vests, all the gear, and getting ready. And when I was sitting handcuffed they had a chain around my waist, and my handcuffs were like this. I was in the back of the SUV with the Marshal sitting next to me guarded, as I was just looking out the window watching them all mount their gear up. And then that lasted for like 15 minutes, and then the Marshal came in and said, "Change of plans, we're going to take you down and book you in at Lebanon PD." So I went down to Lebanon PD. They locked me in a cell, took my wallet, my belt, strip searched me, and then left me in the cell. And then they came in about, 45 minutes later, took me out of the cell, brought me into a conference room, just started interrogating me. Who's in the house, weapons, and all this stuff, and just saying, they kept saying, "We know you gave Ed a gun. You're looking at 40 years, in jail, and if a Marshal or anybody gets killed with that gun, you're looking at the rest of your life in jail. So you better come clean," and all this stuff. And I just tell them I didn't know. I just know Reno, Ed, and Elaine are up there, and pretty much that was all I could really tell them, because there wasn't. They said, "How much does he have bombs?" They wanted to know how much fuel was in the house. They had me draw a plot diagram of the house, pretty much I just drew a rectangle and just, you know, drew some rooms showing, you know, the best of my recollection what the house was, which wasn't too good at the time. So then they're like, okay, they called in a pizza, that we had lunch, because they said they had to feed me because I was in their custody. They fed me. Then they were like, we were having small talk over the pizza about fishing and whatever may have you. Then they're like, okay, change your plans. We're going to get you a bus ticket back to your Albany, New York. And that lasted for like 15 minutes. And then they came back in again and said, actually, we're going to bring you back down to Ed and Elaine's. We're going to drop you off a mile down the road. We want you to go in there, tell them that you were arrested by 2 plainclothes officers and that you were tried to run from them and they tackled you. And they questioned me and released me. And they wanted me to gather intelligence and to meet them back at St. Gaudens State Park an hour later at 5 o'clock. And at 5:10, my cell phone rang, and it was the FBI asking me where I was, because they said if I bring you back up there and we drop you off and you don't come back out, you're done. You got felony this, felony that, all these charges. So it was like 5:10. I told Ed I got to go meet the FBI, and I was moving the cars in the driveway, and that's when my cell phone rang and said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm on my way." So I went down. I met the FBI. They're like, "Who's in the house?" And I was like, "Same people." Oh, actually, I told them. Same people, and they were like, well, then who left in the minivan? I said, I think his name was Brian. And that was that. And then they said, okay, where's the shotgun you said you were taking out of the house? I showed them my shotgun, and they said, okay, you're good to go, you know, you're all set, but you're not done with you. You'll be hearing from me. So then about a week later, they called me again and wanted me to go undercover as a paid informant. I told them I wouldn't do that. They offered me money to go undercover. I said I wouldn't do that. Any money you give me, I will just give to Ed. And they wouldn't go for that. And the last time they called me, they said, we know you have guns in the house and you're looking at all this time. And I said, listen, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Here's my lawyer's phone number. And he says, you got my number. If you got lawyers, if you got guns in that house, you better have your lawyer call me. And he hung up on me.
So have you heard from him since then?
I haven't heard since then.
Now, today in the paper it came out that the federal government said that they're looking at several individual supporters to press charges on possibly.
Right.
Do you know that that's you, or is it just speculative that that could be you, or maybe some other supporters here?
Oh, it's speculative that it's me, but you know, I'm not the only one giving support. Everybody here gives support. If you're an American patriot fighting for the Constitution, I can see how you can't give support to this cause, you know what I'm saying? It's either slavery or freedom. There's really no in between. So, you know, if that's what it takes, and I'm one of the ones he's talking about, then so be it. You know, that's the way it is. Our founding fathers were the same way. Remember, sacred honor, oath, you know, lives they risked, and that's basically what we're doing here. Same exact thing, you know.
Are you hopeful that this event will maybe stem the tide in the other direction? A lot of people, there's a lot of support here, a lot of people coming out for this. Do you think that this will have a positive effect and maybe change the course of this?
Yes, I think it will have a positive effect, and I just hope people start waking up before it's too late, because we really need all the people we can get. But I definitely see people waking up. I see new faces all the time, and yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your support and coming on Free Minds.
Appreciate you guys coming here and you know, covering the story. It's one of the most important stories to date. I don't see anything more important. You know, Paris Hilton or whatever. Forget that. You know, this is where it's at. This is where the real news is at. Okay.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys.